White mayor wanted in Atlanta, Georgia. Kasim Reed's Ascension. White mayor wanted in Atlanta, Georgia. Kasim Reed's Ascension. Thank you for tuning into the Black Political Buzz Network, and my name is Laurel. I am recording this video today from the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm visiting a place called Atlantic Station. As you can see, I'm visiting a place called Atlantic Station in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. Atlantic Station is located near downtown Atlanta. It's a new shopping, I guess like a shopping mall, a new shopping area. They have lots of places here you can eat. And it's not ghetto, quote unquote. It's not the standard ghetto fare that many black Atlanta restaurants, serve or sell. This is a more diverse, area of Atlanta is a more diverse area of Atlanta. And once again, it's the Atlantic Station. I was just trying to show you some footage. I was just showing you all some footage of this area of Atlanta. This is an area of Atlanta that was revitalized to attract a more diverse, more educated, younger population to the city of Atlanta. It's not just for tourism. It is for, tourists do visit Atlantic Station, but it's not just for that purpose. It's also to attract a more younger, more diverse, more educated population to the city of Atlanta, Georgia. And the city of Atlanta, as most of you all know, has a history of predominantly black voters, or predominantly black residents, predominantly black constituents. And Atlanta, since the 1980s, the city of Atlanta has elected black mayors. So the population of Atlanta is predominantly black Democrats. Black Democrat voters, they dominate Atlanta. And the mayors have been black since the 1980s. The current mayor of Atlanta, Kasim Reed, K-A-S-I-M, Kasim Reed, the current mayor of Atlanta, he too is black. And Kasim Reed is in his final term as mayor of the city of Atlanta, Georgia, and he's seeking higher heights in politics. Kasim Reed is a very skillful, articulate politician, and he is seeking higher heights in politics. He's seeking either to run as a U.S. senator or a member of Congress on the House level. But my thoughts is that Kasim Reed is going to seek the office of U.S. senator as his next political, his next political achievement will be being elected as a U.S. senator. Now, Kasim Reed, in order to be a U.S. senator, he's going to need more than just a black vote. He's going to need more than just a black vote to become a U.S. senator. Just like Obama needed more than a black vote in Chicago, just as Obama needed more than a black vote in Chicago to become a U.S. senator, Kasim Reed is going to need some white votes to become a U.S. senator. Now, Atlanta's next mayor's election will be in 2017. We are currently in the year 2016, which is a presidential election. But next year in 2017 will be the next mayor's race in Atlanta. Kasim Reed can't run again, and I don't believe he would want to be served as a third-term mayor of Atlanta. I don't think that Kasim Reed will want to seek office again as the mayor of Atlanta for a third term, because he's seeking a higher political office, more so to be a U.S. senator. So we don't have to worry about Kasim Reed wanting to be a lifelong mayor of Atlanta. He does live in Atlanta, but he doesn't want to be here politically forever. So, as I stated, Kasim Reed will need more than a black vote to take the U.S. Senator seat for the state of Georgia. He's going to need some white voters. Well, as the next mayor's election approaches us in the city of Atlanta, it's time for a white mayor to take over. That's right. I'm not gonna bite my tongue. I know that the predominantly black population in Atlanta are Democrat voters. Now, I don't really care if the next mayor of Atlanta is a Democrat or Republican. I prefer that the next mayor of Atlanta be a Republican. That's just how I feel about it personally. But if it's a Democrat, that's okay. But the next mayor of Atlanta should be white. Not a black mayor, a white mayor. I don't care if it's a male or a female. I don't care if it's a man or a woman, as long as it's a white mayor. And let me explain to you why Atlanta needs a white mayor and why Atlanta is ready for a white mayor. Now, I used to think that the only mayor that Atlanta needed was a black mayor for business purposes. I thought that, keeping Atlanta's mayors black would be good for Atlanta's economics. But coming here to Atlanta to visit, and being here for a little while, looking around the city, looking around the poor areas, visiting the poor areas of Atlanta, the wealthy areas of Atlanta, the new diverse urban areas of Atlanta like Atlantic Station on Market Street, I'm seeing how bad Atlanta needs a white mayor. You see, Atlanta's black leaders have become too complacent. Atlanta's black leaders have become too complacent with the city of Atlanta, and they have neglected much of Atlanta due to Atlanta's large black population. I believe that if Atlanta had more white voters or had a white mayor, how they see the city overall as a whole, the planning would be different. But see, when you have a black mayor in place and you have a long history of black mayors presiding over a urban city like Atlanta, sometimes these black mayors and black leaders, they become complacent, very complacent, and they think that it's okay to let certain areas of the city to deteriorate. Yes, that's true. The black mayors of Atlanta have over time have thought that it's okay and it's acceptable. It's okay, it's fine, it's acceptable politically to allow many of the areas of Atlanta to deteriorate and become crime-ridden. Many of Atlanta's black neighborhoods are crime-ridden and deteriorating, in bad condition, poor services, roads are horrible, potholes everywhere. I mean, Atlanta is the city of potholes, especially in the black neighborhoods. But yet you have black people here paying taxes. You have black voters here paying taxes. Black Democrat voters going to the polls every election, voting for more black Democrat leaders. And their streets are full of potholes and their neighborhoods are full of crime. That's not acceptable, but yet many black voters here have accepted it. It's time for a white mayor in Atlanta. It's time for a white mayor to come on the scene and shake things up. Shake things up in a good way. I do believe that a white mayor would be a good face for the future of Atlanta, because Atlanta is now more diverse. It's trying to be more diverse. And a black mayor is not the only type of leader now that will keep Atlanta afloat financially and business-wise. Atlanta's ready for a white mayor, whether it be a white male or female, whether it be a white Democrat or a white Republican. But Atlanta is ready for a white mayor. The future of Atlanta cannot just be for black people. It has to be for all people, whether you're white, black, Native American Indian, East Indian, Hispanic, Latino, young, old, Christian, non-Christian. The city of Atlanta has to have a face that represents the future of Atlanta. The future of Atlanta is not just black Democrats. The future of Atlanta is diverse. And so as the 2017 Atlanta mayor election approaches, Atlanta voters need to strongly consider allowing a white mayor to step in and be the new face of the new Atlanta. Atlanta has to be a new Atlanta. It has to be, just as Atlantic Station represents a new area of Atlanta, the next mayor has to represent a new Atlanta. Atlanta has to have a new image all over, not just in certain areas. It's time out for Atlanta's mayors and leaders neglecting certain areas of Atlanta and only focusing their resources and money and funding on, like we're gonna only invest funding in Buckhead or invest funny in Atlantic Station, but we're going to let East Point rot. We're going to let Bankhead rot. No. No, the next mayor of Atlanta has to care about all of Atlanta. I repeat, the next mayor of Atlanta, which should be a white mayor, should care about all of Atlanta. And the black voters of Atlanta need to stop running to the polls and voting for black Democrats who don't care about them or their community. So once again, here I am in the city of Atlanta at a place called Atlantic Station. Come and visit Atlanta. And while you're here, visit all of Atlanta. And so you can see the rundown black neighborhoods. So you can see the rundown black neighborhoods and the potholes all over the city. Don't just come to Buckhead and come to Atlantic Station and Lenox Mall. No. Visit all the areas of Atlanta. Visit all the areas of Atlanta. And talk to some of the Atlanta constituents. Go to the poor neighborhoods of Atlanta, as I've done. And talk to some of the poor people who live in those communities and ask them, have they received a good return for their investment of their vote, of voting for black leaders repeatedly? It's time for a white mayor of Atlanta. It's time for Atlanta to have a white mayor. Kasim Reed's Ascension. And by the way, Kasim Reed, I do believe he will be a very effective U.S. Senator, but Atlanta needs a white mayor. Once again, this is Laurel, tuning in from Black Political Buzz Network. Thank you and goodbye.